Why do we sit here being silent, watching our leaders turn into tyrants? Have they forgotten which side they're fighting for? Checks and balances set aside and rule of laws, youth and ours, and Constitution openly ignored. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Is it time for right and left to join a greater cause? Man, I'm not okay. The rich claim to be victimized just to attack the marginalized. Is 1% really worth more than all the sick and poor? Always preaching about fellowship while planning their dictatorship. Now we've seen how all of this plays out before. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Time for you and I to join our country's call. Man, I'm not okay. Ever wonder all the mystery, why they whitewash our history, keep dividing is their plan? All in all, such a scam. Algorithm very sly, only used to spread the lies. Politicians know well, hate is simple to upsell. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Time for you and I to join our country's call.
We are not okay. America is not okay, and we all know that. Former Congressman Joe Walsh, this is The Social Contract with Joe Walsh. Let's figure out how to get okay together. Come on in, come on in, come on in. There are the red hearts. Give me some red hearts. I've got a really interesting guest this evening. We're going to talk about something I think I'm coming back at you, Tom Joad. I'm coming back at you. I think everybody will be able to relate to what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm going to invite my guest on right now. Melissa, I sent you the invite. All you have to do, Melissa, is accept it. I'm waiting for my guest. So come on in, everybody. Hope you're having a good week. Hope your week is off to a good start. Bobby B, how are you? We'll get started here in a moment. Hi, Aaron. Hi, everybody. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome this Tuesday. I'm waiting on my guest. We'll get started here in a minute. Melissa, if you can hear me, are you on your phone? Yeah, you got to try your phone, Melissa. Try your phone. You got to try your phone. That ain't working, my dearest. Welcome, everybody. Karen Powell, welcome. Texas Lib, welcome. I've got a really interesting show for you tonight. As soon as my guest comes in, Melissa Amour, my partner on this Substack. She's got her own Substack as well. Hey, Sarah Sander, former constituent, now living in Colorado. Lucky you. I'd rather be living in Colorado than suburban Chicago. Good for you. Denise from Central California. Hello. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Melissa, you're killing me, lady. You're supposed to be my tech pro. What I will do, Melissa, is hold tight, everybody. Show me some love. Show me those red hearts. Right? We all could relate to Melissa's article. I'm going to send Melissa another invite. I don't know what the hell she's doing. Let's try this one more time. waiting on Melissa. Um, while we wait on our guest, everyone, um, again, hope your week is off to a pretty good start. And when I say that, I mean you personally. I mean you, your family. I mean you, your health situation, you, your economic situation, you, your. There she is.
It finally worked.
Oh my God, Melissa.
Sorry.
Were you on the laptop?
I was on my laptop, yeah.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Melissa's supposed to be the pro and I'm not. Yay, Melissa's here. Welcome everybody. Keep pounding those red hearts. I am excited to talk to my partner um, because I think she has such an interesting tale to tell. And it's a very personal tale. And it's a personal story that I think we all can relate to. Um, so, Melissa, first off, thank you for joining me.
I'm not used to being on screen. I'm
Oh
used
my
to being
God.
behind.
Melissa is always behind the screen. I'm the one that has to be in front of the camera. Melissa does all her magic behind the camera. And I think it's great that we yanked her out and put her in front of the camera. Um, so, welcome everybody. Melissa, what's really cool about what you and I do, and it relates to what you wrote, like every day, right? Trump does 1,000 fucking horrible things, and everybody on Substack and everybody on social media, we all kind of find ourselves chasing the latest dastardly thing Trump did. And there's some value to that. But you and I on our Substack, and I know you do on your Substack, try to write about and talk about important things that may not be in everybody's wheelhouse that day because of Trump. You had told me about a personal situation a couple weeks ago. Your brother uh, had a heart attack and suddenly died. And you had talked a little bit about it, about how your relationship with him and how Trump and politics, had helped to get in the way. But then I wrote the piece you wrote a few days ago. And for everybody who hasn't read Melissa's piece yet, it's called On Family and Loss. You ought to follow and subscribe to Melissa. Check out this piece she wrote. I read your piece, Melissa. It was a very long piece,
You know I can write too. I love to write.
but it was deeply personal. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a headline up there, and then I want you to start. And if I ever say anything that's out of line, slap me upside the head. Your brother suddenly had a heart attack a few weeks ago. He dies. The funeral's last week. You and your mom go to the funeral. You're not allowed into the funeral. And I'm reading this, and you told me about this. I'm thinking, oh my God, explain, Melissa. So start. What happened? What
So,
and your piece, the piece you wrote.
yeah, so I originally started writing a piece just for myself, because this is what I do. I journal, I write all day. That's all I do. So, but then I thought, okay, you know what? There may be people who can relate to this, and this might help someone feel less like they're in this situation. I mean, I felt like this particular situation was pretty unique, but then when I saw some of the just lovely replies from people, I realized it's not, and so that made me even more glad that I, wrote this, but or shared it. Um, when we got to the funeral, there was a police car there, and a police officer, and the usher from the funeral home. Blocked us from going in, saying that uh, my sister-in-law and her kids, my two nieces and my nephew, they didn't want us there. And this didn't come out of the blue. I mean, it wasn't. I mean, that part is out of the blue. We never expected him to do that.
Yeah.
But it didn't come out of the blue. There have been family issues with some of it around politics, most of it around politics, because the politics would intensify the personal issues. Do you know what I mean? Like my husband and I would always say we wouldn't be having family problems if it weren't for the politics. Like
So
it's
so stop
because
there,
of that
Melissa.
that it
So
creates.
what was the political divide with you and your brother and his family?
So we didn't used to be divided. We used to be very much on the same page. And even, like I said in my piece, my brother um, was like a Trump hater like me, a Republican Trump hater, or not, we're not Republicans anymore, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, and even until like 2022, because we would be looking at, we love to talk politics in my family. It's always been that way. And we would be looking ahead at 2024 and we'd be saying, oh my God, is it going to be Trump and Biden again? Like, and I liked Biden a lot, but I just didn't think he should run because of his age. But I liked him, but, my brother did not. He hated Biden, but that was okay. I'd be like, look, we disagree. And he would say the same thing. He said, I respect your opinion. I disagree with it, but I respect you, which I always appreciated. But as it got closer and closer to 2024, he really went down a MAGA rabbit hole. Like he really started saying stuff like, I couldn't believe it. And I was just like, wow, like you really, really changed. And during that same period of time, those last few years, since like 2023, they there was a coldness for my mom that I could never understand. And Joe, my mom, like
Love your
she's a
mom.
sweetheart. What I mean? Like everybody loves my mom. And like there was a coldness for my mom I could never understand. And it was hard for us because she lives with us. She has health issues and um, we have to deal with that. But they would, oh, she has TDS. She has TDS. I can't even talk to her.
They would
Mhm.
they would they would say things like that about your
Oh yeah.
80-something-year-old mother. She's got TDS.
Yes. Yes. That's what my brother told me. And to his credit, like he felt bad that like his family felt that way towards her, but I think he felt stuck. And I feel bad speaking for him because he's not here to speak for himself, but I can only go by what he told me, you know? And because we were in touch all the time, and he would always say that I feel bad for mom. I just don't think things are ever going to be the same again.
You know what's interesting, Melissa, and everybody listening to us can probably somehow relate to how, in this era of Trump, family relationships have been severed, friendships have been severed. You know me, I'm very public. I lost all of my followers, all of my
Yeah, yeah,
supporters.
yeah.
But like what's interesting, Melissa, is what you said about your brother. He became hardcore MAGA. He went down that rabbit hole
Late,
pretty late.
very late, very late.
How do you think that happened?
I think he was part of that. I call them the Joe Rogan MAGA, like the people who came later that really they got influenced by the podcasts that were all trying to make it sound like, oh, come on, Trump really wasn't that bad. We were all making good money. You might hate what he says, but who cares? We were all doing well, which wasn't true. But even so, that was the kind of the way people were talking. And look, if they really had anything on him, he would have been in jail by now. And like that guy sort of world. And there's a lot of that in sports too. Like
Yeah,
we're big sports people. And
yeah.
that's a big thing in the sports world too, that like people don't realize there's a lot of sports podcasts that are also like political podcasts. And that's where that energy was.
Well, that's really true, Melissa, because unlike in 16 and 20, into the 24 election, the whole bro thing among black men, Latino men, and white men, Trump developed a hugely strong following among these guys. So that was a later development in the 24 election. Your brother might have been kind of caught up in some of that.
Yeah. There's a lot of comedians that were like into that.
Yeah.
I think that was his world, like kind of, I want to say the bro culture a little bit, like he was a guy, not in the wing, but like he was a guy. And I think that was his world. Sports,
Yeah.
comedy, and that's where all that energy was with men at that time. White, middle-aged white men, not my husband, thankfully, and not you, but but for a lot of men and young men too, we know that, a lot
Young
of Gen
men.
Z guys are that way as well, which scares me. But yeah, that's
When,
what I
when he, Melissa, so then when he goes down the Trump rabbit hole, when he goes full on MAGA, how does that impact your relationship with him?
so it definitely became more tense. And our relationship was mostly by text and phone. Like we did not get together much as families anymore, sadly, because
Hmm.
of the just, like there was this, like it's almost like chicken. I always say it's like it was the chicken and the egg. I think they looked at it as like, well, mom doesn't see us anymore. And I would say, well, it's because you don't ask her to do anything, or the kids don't call her, like it's got to be a give and take. And so for me, it was like, there became sort of a tension there that was already there from the family issue. And then once he started talking that way politically, and when he started asking me about like vaccines and trans issues, I was like, oh man, bro, like, what are you doing? And I would say to him straight out, I'm like, come on, bro. Like we would say bro and sis. I'd say, like, bro, you are smarter than this. It's like, come on, man. Like, what are you
How
doing?
would he respond to that?
He would say, not as smart as you, Liz.
Uh,
So, and that was that was a brother sister thing, So,
but
yeah,
you during this period, you couldn't engage in real political conversation with him,
well, we did, but only on text, not
only
like
on
by phone,
texting.
only by text. And we would go back and forth. And like, like he thought that Barack Obama was running the White House and that it was treason and they, like, and and I was always like, sort of like, look, like when it got to last summer and the Epstein files was really becoming a thing, I'd be like, okay, Brian, like, come on, um, you must agree. Like, I thought he would take the Thomas Massey approach, right? Like that, like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter who you voted for. This is just wrong. Shit's wrong, right? Um, but he was like, well, he might be in the files, but he just so it was like Bill Clinton. I'm like, that doesn't affect me. I don't care about Bill Clinton. I want Bill Clinton to go down. I was a Republican for 25 years. I don't care about Bill Clinton. You know what I mean? Like,
Um,
it's like what? Like, why would you think that would affect me? You know?
for people joining us, that face and voice belongs to my Substack partner, Melissa Amore, uh, whose brother passed away a few weeks ago, a heart attack suddenly, tragically. Melissa and her mom, Trump and politics had gotten in the way. Melissa and her mom tried to go to the brother's funeral last week, and they weren't allowed to even go to the funeral. Melissa wrote a beautiful personal piece on her Substack called On Family and Loss. I recommend it to everybody, and everybody to a degree will be able to relate to it because to a degree we've all experienced stuff like this. Yours was really powerful. And your mom, how old is your mom?
She's 81.
She's 81.
Yeah.
Like did and she's no fan of Trump's, so they but it's your 81-year-old mother. Who
Right.
cares? Who cares? Like, how could
Right.
you let that get in the way with their relationship with her?
I know. I don't get it either. And hang on, I gotta say one thing. Rick,
Yeah.
if you're watching this, can you bring me my charger? Because I thought I was gonna be on my laptop and not my phone.
Rick, Rick, get that
So
damn
Rick, please
charger.
my charger. Anyway, yeah, no, like, and I would say to my brother, and my sister especially would really, God bless her, because my sister, like, I just tried to keep the peace. I was the middle child, my older brother, my younger sister. There's 10 years between them. They were very different. I was more close with my brother in age. And, my sister would just go after him. Like, why don't you tell your kids to call again? you know, and like, and I would just be like, look, what your kids do is none of my business. I only know what I would do with my own daughter. Um, thank,
Thank you, Rick.
thanks. Can you just plug it in? Thanks. Sorry about that. I thought I was gonna be on the lap,
Plug it in, Rick. Damn it, that's in order.
and then I'm just gonna. Okay.
Um,
Okay. I
Did you
think so.
get it?
Yeah, it's all good. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. I didn't want my dog.
Melissa, back up for
Yeah.
a moment.
Yeah.
Your brother goes down the Trump rabbit hole and he gets lost. What about his wife, your sister-in-law, and their adult children?
So, okay. So it's that they have 3 children. My oldest uh niece who is married and has a child and obviously doesn't live at home anymore, and then their 2 youngest they're all in their well, the oldest is in her 30s, but the 2 youngest are in their 20s. So they're not kids, they're adults.
Right.
But the 2 younger ones still live home. Um I mean, like, I don't wanna say anything untoward about my brother's family, but I do think that there was some influence going on there, that was happening
Is
from my
would
sister-in-law that we didn't
would you
realize,
s-
'cause who would have thought we would be blocked from the funeral? Like,
would you say your brother's wife was she MAGA or a Trump supporter?
I know her whole family is very conservative. She didn't talk politics much. So,
Okay.
I mean, they were all Republicans, and some of them were really they're a farming family, and they're very rural type people, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's it was a little different from how, like, we grew up, which is more, closer to the city and a little bit more, you know, um, so I see Helene saying conservative or MAGA, and I guess, Helene, what I would say is conservative before, then MAGA.
They
Do you know
be
what I
yeah,
mean?
yes.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
they made that conversion.
Right, that we did not, or you did for a little while, but then left. So, like, like, it was like we went in 2 different directions, so we had similar, um, you know, politics during the Bush years and the Obama years, and then we just kinda split, you know?
Did did that whole family know how your mom felt about Trump?
Oh, my mom lets everybody know how she feels about Trump.
Yeah. And
But
so
but not with the kids, you know what I mean? Like, when she talks with the kids, she's asking them, "How's your job? How's your boyfriend or girlfriend? What's going on? What are you up to?" Like, she's not talking about Trump to the kids, and I'm saying kids, again, they're not children,
they're
they're
adults.
in their
Well
20s, yeah.
well, then I get that, Melissa, and I think you told me or I read it in the piece, the adult children, your nephews and nieces, um, they did you say somewhere where they accused your 81-year-old mom of having TDS?
Well, they didn't talk to us. So, I only had
Mm,
contact with my oldest niece, who's my goddaughter,
yeah.
um, and it was fine, you know what I mean? It wasn't like we had some really, really super affectionate relationship because they're just not those kind of people. They're just like that's just not them. But, we never heard from the 2 younger ones ever, Like, I would always text them and say, "Happy birthday," or, "Merry Christmas," and they would just, if you got a thanks, you were lucky, right? So, I only know what my brother told me, and that was that they thought that my mom made everything about politics, and that was annoying, and I was like, "But you never talked to them about politics." So that's why
No,
I
that
feel like
makes no
the
sense.
influence coming from someone else there. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's why I feel like that was coming from somewhere else. And I hope my mom's not mad at me for talking about all this stuff.
No, and I love your mom, and she
Yeah.
won't get mad at you because 'cause you're on with me, and she adores me. So,
She does. She
for
does,
the
yeah.
record,
She loves you.
Melissa's
Yeah.
mom thinks I'm the cat's meow. Um, Melissa, when you f and we talked a little bit, when you found out suddenly that your brother had a heart attack and died, that was shocking to you, correct?
Oh, it was horrible. It was just, like, came out of nowhere, and we have no family history of anyone dropping dead of a heart attack, and certainly not in their 50s, but, like, we're, like, more of a cancer type family, like, people get cancer in their 70s or 80s, and then, they're sick for a while. Now, our father died fairly young, he was only 63, but he had a brain tumor. He had the
Yeah.
tumor, that John McCain had, right? Um, so he was sick for 6 months and then passed away. Do you have time at least to, like, it was horrible, but it was really horrible, but, like, you have at least some time to prepare. This is, like, completely nobody expected this at
And
all. Nobody.
personal question: after you found out your brother died, and then in the subsequent days, was there a part of you at all that regretted or was sad about the fact that your relationship, because of this political thing, never got back to?
Oh my god, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Explain that. Describe that.
Oh my goodness, yeah, like, I've been going, like, ugh, it's been kind of awful the last couple of weeks trying to wrap my head around it. Like, it sucks that the last thing that we talked about was, like, stupid political stuff. I almost texted him that day because that
Really?
was Trump was doing his Greenland thing, and I was gonna say, "Bro, come on."
Come on,
Oh,
Greenland?
yeah, yeah, like, really, um, but like I said in the piece, like, I'm glad I raised it because I really just didn't want me challenging him on politics, even though we were always respectful about it. Even I just wouldn't that want that to have been the last thing he saw from me, but, like, instead, the last thing he saw was Merry Christmas, you know what I mean? But, like, it's sad. We were very close as a family, extremely close growing up and when our children were growing up. It's we
You, you and I are in the same space. We're never Trumpers, and we've talked about how this era has divided families and friends. You've been privy to other stories, and I'm sure heard other stories about families and friendships that have been broken because of this. Did you ever think it would happen to you?
No, if you told me 10 years ago that this would be where my family would end up, I wouldn't have believed you in a million years, particularly the funeral. Like,
So so go there, Melissa, go there. Even with all of this, your brother goes down the Trump rabbit hole. That impacts your relationship with him and his family. Same thing with your mom and his family. But doggone it, he has a funeral. You and your mother, his mother, go to the funeral, and you're not allowed in. Like that had to have surprised you.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff that was going on the week leading up to it that like we were saying, "Oh, this is just gonna be so horrible. It's gonna be so awkward. It's gonna be terrible." But to have somebody actually do that, like, I mean, the cop felt terrible. I felt so
Ex-
bad for the
ex-
cop.
Explain the cop. A cop
Oh,
stopped you and your mom.
there was a police officer there. So, the police officer, I think we were sort of joking around. We said he was probably expecting, like, like, ex-cons to show up with, like, guns or something, and that's why they had him there. I think when they saw my mom, he was probably like, "This is who I have to stop from going in." And he was young, he looked like he was in his early 30s, and, he was just like he just, like, hated his life in that moment, and he said, "Look, I'm gonna go in and talk to them." He said, "I feel bad doing this," you know? So he went in. Nope, they weren't gonna budge. We couldn't go in, and,
Do you think, Melissa? Do you think the cop was there, spe-
oh, that's
had a
why
family specifically to
oh,
stop
yeah,
you
they
and your
brought
mother?
for that reason, to stop us from going in.
So so I
Like, what did
so
they think we were gonna do? My mom was in a wheelchair. And I'm a lover, not a fighter. So I don't know what they thought we were gonna do, but, like,
so
it's the just the appearance of it, you know? Like, it's just
they
ugly.
that like I come from a family of 9, and what I've done politically has impacted my relationship with my siblings. But if one of my siblings died, I can't imagine, even if my most pro-Trump sibling, I can't imagine that my brother's family not allowing me into a funeral. Melissa, I can't even imagine that.
No, no, neither can
Your
I.
mother, his mother, that's that's your mother's child that died.
Yeah, yeah, and we actually even said that to the police officer. I said, "Look, if they don't want my husband and I in there, fine, but please let our mother go in." Nope,
Wh-
and if we pushed the issue, because at one point my mom's like, "I don't care. I'm going in anyway. You're gonna have to arrest me." and they would have arrested us for trespassing. So, like, it was like we didn't wanna make a scene at my brother's funeral, like, we're like, "This is supposed to be a sacred event, this is not supposed to be this way." And so, you know,
Do
I
maybe
I
you can't maybe you can't answer this. Where do you think that came from? Your brother's dead, but do you think your brother had said, "If I die, in a will or whatever, and I have a funeral, my mother and my sister, God love her, I love them both, but they have TDS, I don't want them at my funeral." Would it have come from your brother, or would it have come from your brother's wife? Like, and
my
where would that come
my
from?
younger niece tried to tell me that he wouldn't have wanted us there. He didn't want us there.
Oh,
I don't buy that for a second.
you
I
don't.
don't. I don't. My mother and I still talked to my brother all the time. There's no reason why he would have said that in a million years. And if he ever did say it, this is what my one cousin said to me. She's like, "If he ever said it, it would have been like, because for one thing, why would he think that my mother would be at his funeral? He had no reason to believe he was going to die. He didn't have cancer. He wasn't on his deathbed. He was healthy and well. Why would he ever said I why would he like, as the child, you don't typically think, "Oh, I wouldn't want my mother at my funeral," because you just assume, I mean, we never know what's gonna happen in life, but you just assume your parents will go first. And so, like, why would someone who was healthy say, "I don't want my mother at my funeral," unless either he was sick and we just didn't know about it, or he said it out of anger, or just, like, you say stupid things. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of, is just like, "I wouldn't even want them at my funeral. That's how much I can't stand them." You know what I'm saying?
Would then would it
So,
have come from your sister-in-law or the kids? I love asking you hard questions.
I can't hide anything on my face. Like,
I
my
know.
face shows exactly how. So, yes. I mean, that is I don't even think that they knew maybe that we were communicating. I think that he had to keep his world separated, and it's coming from them. I like, they immediately closed ranks as soon as he passed. They informed us, and then they didn't wanna hear anything from anyone. They didn't wanna talk about anything. They didn't want to. And we kept texting, my sister and I, we kept texting and saying, and my mom she doesn't do anything, she can't text. So, I would say, "Hey," and she lives here with me anyway, so I would say, "Oh, Gam and I are wondering how everybody's doing. Like, is there anything you need?" Because we had that huge blizzard too that weekend, or like, "Do you need help? Is there anything?" Because they don't live that far. They only live a half hour away. So we're like, "Do you need anything?" And my sister was texting them too.
Nothing.
In the very beginning, we got thanks,
No, okay.
and then it was shut off.
So Melissa, let's take a broader view. I think in the grand scheme of things, in how this Trump era, where you stand on Trump, has torn apart relationships, friendships, marriages. Yours is an extreme case, but
Very
as
much.
you very much so, and I'm so sad for you because of that. I But I believe damn near everybody listening to us can relate to a piece of what you've gone through. But as you look at the broader picture, Melissa, because you're very politically aware and you pay attention, why do you think it is that's become such an emotional dividing line where you are on Trump? I'm older than you. I don't remember this with any other political figure in my life. Why do you think it's become the relationship killer it is?
Well, to me, it's because I always and I wrote about this once. To me, Trump is like the dress. Do you remember the dress, that image on the internet of, some people saw it as gold and white, and some
Uh,
people saw it blue and black. And,
yeah.
like, you saw it one way or you saw it the other. And I feel like that's how it is with Trump. Like, there's no in between. Like,
Yeah.
you either see him as a hero and a saint and all this other, a Christian and all these other things, or you see him the way we do, which I consider reality, as all the things that we know that he truly is. as my mom would say, evil. So that's I don't feel like any other leader, and I mean, I feel like it was getting worse as we went along. Like Clinton first time was divisive, then George W. Bush was divisive, then Obama was divisive, and I don't think they themselves were, but they're necessarily, but the
It was
culture,
building. Yeah.
it was building this idea that you're on one side or the other, but there was still some like gray area. You know what I mean? Like I don't remember. I didn't vote for Obama. But I didn't hate him. And I remember in 2012, I was kind of like, well, he's fine. If he wins, I wasn't gonna like cry a river over it. I was like, well, he's doing an all right job. So like, and now I almost kind of sometimes I this Joe's gonna call me a squish, but sometimes I almost wish I did vote for Obama, but I never did. But anyway, but yeah, I've voted only Democrat ever since. But anyway, so I it like, there was gray area. It wasn't like, "No, you're on one team or the other." Trump is just there's something almost I swear to God, it's almost, like, supernatural about it. There's something about him that, like, we look at him and we just see that this is just, like,
Evil. Evil.
so yeah, just
Evil.
a terrible, horrible person, right? And it just seems so obvious. And then to think that other people could potentially like somebody like that, and not only like them, but love them, worship them. It's
And by the way, Melissa, I'm seeing in the comments some, you didn't vote for Obama? You didn't like Obama?
I know, I'm
Newsflash.
sorry.
Hold on. No, newsflash. Everybody who's listening to us right now, I never voted for Obama. I'm a Tea Party libertarian conservative. I like and respect Obama. His politics weren't mine. Not everybody in the country who opposes Trump voted for Obama. Melissa was not a Democrat. Joe Walsh was not a Democrat. Remember, all of our Democratic listeners, many of us who are locking arms with you right now, we don't come from the progressive side. I think, by the way, Melissa, I think a lot of Democrats forget that.
Yeah, and I've been basically a Democrat now for so long, like 10 years. So, like, I sometimes forget even that I was like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't vote for Obama," because, like, now I, like, love Obama. So I'm like, "That's right, I didn't vote for Obama." I think my brother actually did,
Oh,
which is
God.
interesting, which is very interesting. So,
No,
yeah,
it's like, Melissa, it's now like our identity. Um, Someone you and I know, my filmmaker, Mike Ramsdell, we were talking about the halftime show at the Super Bowl. And
yes,
I said to him, my fucking God, even even that, we can't even just be entertained by a halftime show. Even that has to be political. And
yeah,
and Mike said something interesting. He said, "No, Joe, politics has become our entertainment." I thought about that. And if that's true, I think that's a bad thing. I think it's a horrible thing if politics
yeah,
is our entertainment. But it's like so many people who support Trump, their entire identity is wrapped up with that.
yes. It's their whole culture. It's everything about them, and I think that's what made it difficult for us, is that once you kinda go to once you know that somebody could potentially have voted for like, you look at them differently, and I know it's terrible,
Stop,
but
stop, stop. I want to hear you say that again. And this is important. Then I want you to explain it. When you, Melissa Amour, find out a friend or a family member voted for Trump, you would look at them differently. Explain.
okay, so I was willing to give people a break on 2016, even though I thought he was a pig from the beginning and never wanted to vote for him ever, and I voted for Hillary, but I was like, "Okay, I will even give you a pass for that." But, like, to me, after his first term, if you were still voting for him,
You're,
I couldn't understand 2020, and I really couldn't understand 2024 after January 6th and
yeah.
all of the things that came out, and like, just the things he was saying. I mean, you just had to listen to him and watch him, and you could see he was just I mean, you could see all of this coming. And so, like, that was the thing I could never understand was why any decent person would vote for this guy. And then I got to, like, really love Kamala. I went to see her twice, and, I really I just really got to like her a lot, and, I to me, I could not now but they look at us and say the same.
So think about what you just said, and I think this is fascinating. Paraphrasing, you can't imagine how a decent person could vote for Trump.
Yeah,
Do you think your brother and his family sensed that you felt that way?
I think that they probably believe that anyone who was against Trump feels that way. I think that's how Trump supporters feel, that everybody thinks they're terrible. And, like,
Yeah.
I I mean, like, you made the choice, like, it's the way you voted for him, is the way I look at it, you know what I mean? So, like,
And some of them wear that as a badge of honor. They do. Like, "Oh,
yeah,
the libs think I'm a racist or a bigot or deplorable." Yeah, they take some of them take pride in that, but they do, and I can see where again, your brother never articulated this to you. I've had other friends and family members say this to me that, "Joe, you just think I'm an idiot or a bigot because I support him." I've had people say that to me, and I say, "No, no, not necessarily." But I can see how they would think that, and I can see how your brother and his wife might have felt that you felt that way about them.
well, maybe they did.
Mm.
I don't think that they would have gotten it from me, but
Not from
maybe in
your
their
81-year-old mother either, right?
I don't think so.
No.
But then again, my mom does say, like, Trump is evil, so 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 maybe they thought, well, like, it's not a far jump to say, well, I voted for if you voted for somebody who's evil, well, then you can't be very good, right? I think my brother was one of these people who thought that all politicians are bad, and we've talked about this, Joe. Like, all politicians are bad, and so to him, he was gonna vote for I guess he couldn't see, at least in those last couple of years, how Trump was uniquely bad. And not just bad, but, you know, would be catastrophic, right? So
But even all of this, Melissa, to keep your 81-year-old mother
I know. It was
out
terrible.
of a funeral because of this,
It was
uh,
bad. It was really, really bad. Really.
that's and
And
again, I know everybody listening can relate, and you've got a story in your family of in your community like this. Um, that's why I so love the piece you wrote, and everybody should read the piece Melissa wrote called "On Family and Loss" on her Substack. Go to Melissa Amore's Substack, follow, subscribe. Melissa,
yeah.
when did you and I first meet, and how did you? What did you think of me at the very beginning?
Well, so it's funny because I was on Twitter for years and years, and when you were and I was never Trump from the second, from the fa
Oh, oh, okay, Mrs. Pure. Okay,
exact
Mrs.
from the day of the escalator. So and you weren't at that time, and I had you blocked for a long time on
Oh
Twitter.
my God, Melissa, we're breaking news. Everybody, that's a shanda. You had me blocked.
Yeah, but in 2016 and 2017. And then,
Yeah,
um, and then you changed, and then I was working for Evan McMullin, and then what happened was he was gonna run a Senate campaign, so the organization
yeah.
that had was taken over by Miles Taylor. So I got to work for Miles Taylor. So then, so Miles was running Renew America movement. This was in like This was 2021, and you were one of the signatories on the letter that sort of established.
Yeah.
So that was the first place our paths crossed. Then
Did you
I
unblock me by then? Did you unblock me?
oh yeah, no, I unblocked you in 2018. When you were running against Trump, that's when you became my guy. So, um, but then, um, but then we were both at Center Street
Yeah.
PAC. We were both at
Mm.
Mission Democracy PAC with Marcus, who I know is on. I saw him on here.
Yeah.
Um, we were both at 97% because you
Oh
were
my
on the
God. Yeah.
yeah. But our paths have crossed a lot. Um, and then I approached you and said, Joe Walsh, you need a Substack.
You need a Substack. Thank God you approached me.
Yeah.
Um, Melissa, uh, the name of your Substack is what? The Insider's Outsider, the Outsider's Insider?
The inside outsider.
The Inside
Y-
Outsider.
yeah.
Explain that. I love that.
So the reason I call it that is because I get to hang out with all you awesome people, like Olivia Troy was texting me about my brother, and like I know all you awesome people, and like, but I'm just some regular person just sitting here in my house taking care of my 81-year-old mother and writing stuff. That's really it, and helping you all out. So,
Yeah.
I always like kind of consider myself like just, like a regular person, not did not come from politics in the same way that you all did. I just, got involved later in my 40s and then decided to go down this never Trump. And I've been very fortunate. I've had a lot of really interesting experiences and stuff. So when I created that, I thought, well, it might be interesting for some people that, like I think people think that this is a career, because a lot of people start out right that
Yeah.
way out of college, like my friend Mariana, who's been in politics from the get-go. Like she started you probably know Mariana.
Yeah.
Started right out of college. I didn't. I came to it later. So I get to know,
You're
talk to everybody, and hang out with everybody. But,
well, and that's why I encourage everybody to follow and subscribe to you, because you are the quintessential, as George W. Bush used to say, regular American. You are regular folk, but you're
really good.
well. And by the way, you're from Philly, and I'm kind of fallen in love with Philly a little bit, and I didn't think I would. Um,
We get a
you
bad rep.
you are a regular person who's been now in this political world for quite some time. And as you said when we began, you're used to being one of these really cool people behind the camera. You do your writing, you do a lot of thinking and writing and putting out stuff. Um, and that's what you love to do. Uh, but I think your voice and perspective is so important, because there are too many people here on Substack, like on every freaking platform, that think they're God's gift and look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm so fucking important. Um, when I find you have more interesting things to say than damn near everybody. Two final questions, Melissa. If I ever did run for president, would you vote for me?
Of course.
Yes. For
I
the record, yes.
expect to work in your cabinet.
Oh, God. Melissa, if I became president, you're chief of staff. You're right there, or you're
All
right there.
right. I'm down. That's the one thing that we
Okay.
can.
Okay. Now, my last question, a serious question. By the way, everybody, thank you for listening. I think this is a really important conversation that has impacted. We've all gone through this, millions and millions and millions of us in this fucking era of Trump have been impacted by this. We've lost friends, we've lost lovers, we've lost siblings, we've lost aunts and uncles, all the rest, because of whatever this is, him, where you stand on him. Um, so thank you everybody for listening, and make sure you follow and subscribe to Melissa. And by the way, read her piece if you have an afternoon, because it's a really long piece.
Almost
But
3,000.
read it. Read her piece on her Substack. It's called On Family and Loss. Beautifully written, poignant piece. Melissa, last question.
Yeah.
Your brother, and it'll sound kind of funny, but it's a serious question. When we're done here, your brother knocks on your front door and he's back with you for 20 minutes. What the fuck would you say to him?
Oh,
Come on now.
I mean, honestly, I would just say I'm so sorry what happened to him. I'm just crushed that this happened to him. Like, to just gone just like that. It just breaks my heart. It just he had such a he had a nice life and, he had a ton of friends. He was a really we had our moments, but he was a good dude and, like, he just does not nobody deserves but, like, I just, like, can't even believe it. But I would mostly just give him a big hug and just tell him
See, and what's really cool about your answer? If you had 20 more minutes with him, you wouldn't say one fucking word about Trump.
no, Jesus, God, no.
No,
I never had to think about him ever again.
no, that's actually perfect. Hey,
Yeah.
Melissa, thanks for doing this.
Aw, thanks, Joe. I appreciate it.
No, I wanted to do this. And I especially wanted to do it after I read your piece. I think it's important for folks to hear. Thank
Great.
you, everybody who joined us.
Thank
Melissa, thank you.
thank you,
Thanks,
Joe.
all.
Thanks
Be
a lot.
brave, everybody. Thanks.
Alright, bye.
Okay.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, follow, and share The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple, Spotify. Plus, don't forget to subscribe to The Social Contract on Substack. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.